Hi, thanks for using my court coach. My name is Sarah and I'll be your instructor today as we talk about the Schedule of Assets and Debts form, also known as the FL142 form. This is a form that does not get filed with the court. It gets served on the other side. It is part of each party's duty to disclose. In any divorce, before the court can accept either a settlement agreement from the parties or set the matter for trial, they need to be assured that there has been full transparency between the parties with respect to their finances. And so this is one of the required forms under that declarations of disclosure requirement. This form is not to state who gets what. It is to disclose everything that the parties own as a married couple, whether it's in the petitioner's name, the respondent's name, or both of their names. So we start off the form by filling in the identifying case information at the top. Whatever your role is to the case, whether you're the petitioner or respondent, you would mark the correct box. And then we get to the listing of assets and debts, starting with real estate. You want to list the address of the property. And then if it's a separate property asset, in other words, you're claiming that it was acquired prior to marriage, after date of separation, or by inheritance or gift, you would put a check mark or some way to identify that you're claiming it's a separate property under this column. Under this column, you list the date it was acquired. You want to list the current gross fair market value. If you have a recent appraisal, I suggest attaching it to this form. Otherwise, for now, Zillow would be fine, or whatever real estate site where you are getting a fair market value from. Print out a copy of that screenshot and attach it to this. If there is a mortgage owed on the house, then you would also attach a copy of the loan statement to this form. It's really important in doing this form that you not only fill in the information, but you provide as much supporting documentation as possible. And so you're going to see as we go through this form that I'm going to be asking you to provide any sort of supporting documents that support the figures that you're listing to the form. The next category down is household furniture, furnishings, appliances. I always leave it up to my clients how detailed they want to get on this. Some clients will give me pages and pages of Excel spreadsheets identifying every table lamp in the house. Some parties will give me just a general description, bedroom furniture, living room furniture. Honestly, you don't want to spend a ton of time litigating furniture and furnishings. So however you want to do it is fine. Just remember that when you are listing fair market value on this, you want to use garage sale values unless you have very valuable furniture. Most people don't. And give your best estimate of what you think the fair market value is. The next category is jewelry, antiques, art, coin collections. If you have any items that fall under this category, you want to identify that. And by the way, I do know that some of these spaces they give you to fill in the information is not very much. So if you ever need to add more information, please feel free to add an attachment and just say, item number 3 continued, and then you can include all the same information on that attachment. Item number 4, vehicles, boats, trailers. It says to attach a copy of the title document. In addition to that, I would also attach for fair market value a Kelley Blue Book private party value printed out. And then if there's a loan on the car or money still owed on it, please attach a current loan statement as well. Next, we have bank accounts, and that's going to include savings accounts, checking accounts, and credit union or other deposit accounts. For each of these, you want to list the account name, account number. I don't know that bank and branch is that important, but if you want to include that information, go ahead. But the bank where you're banking at and the account number are probably the two most important pieces of information to provide. And again, fair market value, you want to put the current balance in there. There shouldn't be any money owed, I guess, unless it's negative. So that's probably not a category you're going to be filling in. And then the next category down is cash. If you have, and I'm not talking about $5 in your wallet, but if you have a significant amount of cash that is sitting around, then you would want to disclose that here, place the value here. Tax refund. Tax refund is if you have filed your taxes and are expecting a refund but have not yet received it, then you would just disclose, 2019 state tax refund and the amount that you think is due. Life insurance. This is life insurance with a cash surrender value only. So if it's a term policy, you do not need to disclose it. On the other hand, if it's a cash out policy, then you would need to disclose it here and attach a copy of the declaration page and then list the value, the cash out value in this box. And next we have our investments and retirement accounts. Box number 11 is for you to list any stocks, bonds, secured notes, or mutual funds that you have. List the fair market value. And of course, when I'm saying list the fair market value, I don't mean don't ignore all these other categories. I've just already discussed those, so I'm not going to keep repeating it. But fair market value, and then attach a copy of the current statement or certificate. Retirement plans, same thing. You want to list the fair market value as well as the current benefit statement, and put as much identifying information as you can. Don't just say 401k, but please provide who the administrator of the 401k is. If there's an account number, please list that as well. Next, we have profit sharing, annuities, IRAs, deferred compensation. If you have any of those assets, attach a copy of the statement, and again, provide the name of the account as well as the account number and the current fair market value. If you operate your own business and you have accounts receivable, then you want to list that in box number 14 and what that amount is that you're entitled to for accounts receivable, and attach a copy of that as well. If you have a business, you want to attach a copy of your most current K-1 form and or Schedule C, or if you have business tax returns, then you would attach it here. Just make sure to redact your social security number. Fair market value. Sometimes we don't know the value of a business because it hasn't been appraised yet. If you do have a value for the business, then go ahead and list that. Otherwise, you can say to be determined or needs to be appraised. Other assets, if there's any other assets that you have that do not fit into any of these other categories, sometimes people will have, for instance, water skis or something like that that doesn't easily fit into another category. This is the place to list it. And again, the fair market value. Then at the very bottom, you want to take all the values that have been listed on the prior 3 pages, total it up, and then list those totals down here. This is going to be the total value. This is going to be the total amounts owed. Finally, the last page addresses debts. So at the very top, if you have student loans, you want to list who that loan is to, and then list the amount owing and when it was incurred. If you owe taxes, then you want to list the taxes and total amount owing and the date incurred, so whatever year taxes you owe for. And with the taxes, I know that sometimes the IRS and the state franchise board don't always give current statements every month. So whatever your most current statement is, attach that as your supporting documentation. If you owe support arrearages, in other words, if you have been found to owe back support in either this case or any other case, then you would want to attach a copy of those support orders and the total amount that's currently owing. Any unsecured loans, that could be it could be a loan from a friend. It could just be a loan that is, as it says, unsecured, but through a bank. Whatever it is, describe it here. And if you have any documentation verifying that, then please attach it. Credit cards. You may have more credit cards than they have space for here, but you can either continue it into 24 other debts, or as I said earlier, you can attach a separate sheet of paper to this to include that. But in any case, you want to list the name of the creditor and the account number. I don't think, again, address is very important. And then attach a copy of the latest statement that supports the figures you're listing. And if there's any other debts that you owe that don't fall into any of these other categories, then go ahead and list them in 24. As with page 3, they want you to tally up the total and then put it in the under 26. This is going to be a document that has many attachments to it, all your supporting documentation. Add up the number of pages, mark box 27, and attach those to this form. And then you want to print your name here, sign and date, and then this form is ready to be served as part of your declarations of disclosure requirement. I hope you found this helpful. Good luck.